now been a couple of weeks since Linkin Park released their highly anticipated comeback record, From Zero, and so many questions have now been answered. What's it going to sound like? How's it going to go? How's it going to perform? And we now have data on that, with Linkin Park making a very strong debut at number 2 on the albums chart over there at Billboard. And it would have been number 1 had it not been for this K-pop group that is a boy band. And if you're familiar with the type of numbers they're doing, it's just mind-blowing. And so still the number 1 rock album debut for a band this year from Linkin Park. Very impressive numbers they put up. And also the ticket sales they've been doing from the From Zero World Tour. Coming to a city near you for sure. They're going to be very busy in 2025. Got the dates up on your screen. Now, in a new interview, Mike Shinoda is opening up about the selection process, how they made the decision to hire Emily Armstrong. And he goes into something I've heard a lot from you in the comments. Hey, why didn't they pick up one of these vocalists from a Linkin Park cover band, a tribute band? There's a lot of them. And Mike spoke on that. There are some Linkin Park tribute bands where the vocalist not only sounds like Linkin Park, but also looks a lot like Chester. And for me, I love cover bands. I love tribute bands. Used to do a lot of covers myself. And to see maybe a cover band that looks so much like your band, it might be a little bit odd when you're the musician who's actually making this music, especially when you feel like you have a lot left in the tank. Linkin Park wants to keep going and they want to keep pressing forward full-fledged, as we're seeing them do now. So Mike Shinoda's reaction to this was very interesting. There's been a lot of people discussing this, so let's dive in. Long before Linkin Park even began teasing their highly anticipated return, there had been years of discussion and debate around who could potentially serve as the lead vocalist if Linkin Park were to return. One of the most common names we heard was none other than Sum 41 vocalist Derek Whibley. Another name was Bring Me the Horizon's Ollie Sykes. And then, once rumors started circulating that it was going to be a female vocalist, we heard everyone from Amy Lee to Lizzie Hale, but very few people expected it would be none other than Dead Sarah frontwoman Emily Armstrong. Don't get me wrong, the pick was certainly controversial, but it was always going to be controversial, no matter who they picked for the job, because you're stepping into a band who had one of the best frontmen in all of rock music, Chester Bennington. And with every show, Emily Armstrong has been winning over fans, and it's clear she's also earned the respect of her bandmates. In a new interview with LA radio station Alt 98.7, Mike Shinoda spoke about hiring Emily for the job. He told them, "We just want Emily to be Emily. The songs are the songs. Emily is Emily. There was a time early on, like 2020-ish, 2019, whatever." And this is when Mike says he was just browsing the internet and encountered a cover band that looked a lot like Linkin Park in addition to sounding like them. And it's really interesting to hear him talk about this, because I would imagine being in a band, especially a band that is still active or intended to still be active, dealing with that where they're dressing like you, they look like you, and you're seeing that online. The fans are loving it. They're showing up and you're feeling like, hey, I still want to make a lot of music. I still want to do this. We're still around. And when Linkin Park is as big as they are, I mean, this is going to happen no matter what. But I thought his perspective was interesting as someone who likes cover bands and goes to see them. But I haven't really thought about it from how do the artists feel about that. And here's Mike. He said, "I remembered I was watching videos. I think a video of a cover band, a Linkin Park cover band, showed up in my feed. Fans were loving it. They were all like, oh my God, this person's so good. They sound so much like Chester." But Shinoda likened the experience to the uncanny valley. He said, "Your brain likes it better and better and better. The more it gets more real and close to the real thing. And then the moment before it becomes exactly as real, your brain goes completely the opposite direction. Right back down to, I hate it, because your brain can tell it's trying to be tricked, and nobody's brain likes that. So when I was watching this YouTube video or Instagram video of this cover band, I was like, that's really cool. But it's also creepy that it sounds so much like Chester. I don't like it. It weirds me out. It made me immediately know that it wasn't the move for us. I don't like it. I like it for the cover bands. I just don't like it for us. These bands do a great job, but I wouldn't put that in our band." I really like this take from Mike Shinoda here, because no matter what Linkin Park was going to do, there were going to be people who were unhappy. It's just because the band is so big and people felt so strongly about Chester Bennington, and it's hard for them to carry on. It doesn't matter who the singer is. That was going to be a difficult adjustment. And I think they've done a really good job, all things considered. I totally get those of you who, you don't want to tune in. You're saying, hey, Linkin Park without Chester is not for me. Respect that. I'm sure they respect that as well. But they're carrying forward and they're moving on. But what he says, he obviously respects the cover bands, but how it gave him this idea that this is not going to be for them to carry on with someone who was more of a Chester lookalike or someone who sounds like them. And look, Linkin Park, they could have done something really controversial, like the technology with these holograms now, which I don't think they ever would have actually done that, hearing Mike Shinoda and stuff. He's an authentic musician, but they could have done that. They could have done so many different things that would have been even more controversial. So, I thought this was an interesting perspective. You don't really get to hear what bands think of tribute acts and cover bands, and a group like Linkin Park is going to have so many. So he obviously respects them, but it kind of freaks him out a little bit. His late friend, someone who was so close to him, seeing someone looking like them and sounding like them, I could see how that would be a little bit odd. So let me know what you all think in the comments as always, and be sure to subscribe right here at Rockfeed for the latest news and updates.